The offspring was the child of Kay and Bjorn, so why does it look like an engineer? Where did these traits come from? This hybrid creature brings up the ongoing mystery about the role of the black goo, a powerful bioweapon first introduced in Prometheus, which has since left a lasting impact on the alien universe's lifeforms. In Prometheus, the black goo is introduced as a mysterious, highly volatile substance developed by the engineers. Often stored in vases and held within the temples on LV-223, the goo can break down and reform DNA on a genetic level. When ingested or introduced into a living host, it triggers intense and sometimes violent biological changes. The engineers themselves are shown using it both to create life and to destroy it. In the film's opening scene, an engineer drinks a version of the black goo, which disintegrates his body and releases his DNA into the water, seeding life on Earth. This event implies that the engineers possess an advanced understanding of genetic manipulation and can control the goo's effects with precision, using it as a tool for either genesis or destruction. The engineers themselves are portrayed as an imposing and powerful race, with physical characteristics that set them apart from humans. The engineer encountered by the Prometheus crew on LV-223 is taller than a typical human, with black eyes, pale skin, and a muscular frame. This engineer also seems to have an exoskeleton-like body, giving him a biomechanical appearance that blurs the line between biology and technology. In Prometheus, and later in Alien Covenant, we learn that, despite these differences, the engineers share identical DNA with humans. This similarity has led fans to theorize that the engineers may have used the black goo to alter their own physiology for different purposes, creating forms adapted to specific tasks, such as warriors or space pilots. In Romulus, the origin of the Offspring's engineer-like appearance lies in the events that expose Kay and her unborn child to a refined version of the black goo, known as Compound Z01. This derivative of the original pathogen is introduced by the synthetic Rook, who describes it as an advanced mutagen with enhanced transformative capabilities. Unlike the raw black goo, which causes chaotic and often violent mutations, Z01 appears to produce more controlled changes, though it remains highly volatile. In a desperate moment, Kay injects herself with Z01 while pregnant, attempting to survive an imminent threat. The compound rapidly affects her fetus, accelerating its growth and causing genetic mutations. The result is the Offspring, a hybrid creature bearing many of the same traits seen in the engineers. The Offspring's physical attributes support the theory that the black goo can induce engineer-like traits in human or hybrid organisms. Its gray skin, dark eyes, and lack of hair are similar to the engineers encountered on LV-223. As the Offspring continues to grow, it even develops elongated limbs and an exoskeletal structure, suggesting that the compound Z01 and perhaps the dosage or application method could determine the extent of these engineer-like transformations.
Oh my God. I've never seen anything like it. Doctor, what is it, Doctor?
I'm fine. Get the t-shirt.
This parallels other instances in the Alien series where varying doses or delivery methods of the black goo led to distinct results, such as Fifield's aggressive mutation in Prometheus. Another theory posits that the black goo contains latent genetic markers from the engineers themselves, allowing it to express engineer traits when introduced to a host. In Alien Covenant, David, a synthetic with a twisted fascination for bioengineering, experiments with the black goo on the engineer's home planet. He discovers that the goo is capable of both creating and destroying, leading him to conduct numerous genetic experiments. Through these trials, David merges DNA from multiple species, eventually producing a primitive version of the xenomorph. These experiments suggest that the engineers originally used the black goo to manipulate genetic structures with great precision, creating hybrids and engineered beings suited to their purposes. Kay's injection of Z01 into her fetus may have triggered a similar response, leading to the creation of the Offspring, a creature that combines human and engineer traits, much like David's earlier creations. The Offspring's development also raises questions about the engineer's role in the evolution of xenomorphs and other predatory lifeforms. In Prometheus and Alien Covenant, the black goo mutates hosts in ways that often result in aggressive, dangerous creatures, suggesting that the xenomorphs themselves may have originated from the engineer's experiments gone wrong. The Offspring's fusion of human and engineer characteristics, along with its violent tendencies, reflects this pattern, reinforcing the idea that the black goo's mutagenic effects are not solely physical, but can also impact behavior. It's possible that the engineers abandoned the black goo as a controlled tool after witnessing its destructive potential, much like Kay experiences when her mutated child grows beyond recognition and control. The Offspring's engineer-like features also imply that the black goo represents an ancient connection between humans and engineers, one that reaches back through generations. Although humans and engineers share DNA, the engineers have shown themselves capable of augmenting their bodies through controlled use of the black goo, creating versions of themselves suited to various tasks or environments. Some fans have suggested that the engineers could apply the black goo selectively to produce beings like the space jockey form seen in Alien, where a massive body and biomechanical exoskeleton might be necessary for piloting a ship of colossal size. The Offspring, as a hybrid born from uncontrolled exposure, is an echo of this process, a being formed by the random, chaotic application of engineer technology. In the context of the Alien franchise, the Offspring's creation is a reminder of the dangers of tampering with unknown biological forces. The engineers, despite their advanced understanding of genetics, appear to have suffered as a result of their own creations, especially when the black goo led to mutations beyond their control. Similarly, Kay's decision to inject herself with Z01 during pregnancy inadvertently triggered an evolution that merges human and engineer traits, mirroring the unintended consequences the engineers faced in their own experiments. The Offspring thus represents both the engineer's genetic legacy and a warning of the chaos that can arise when attempting to control such potent technology without fully understanding its effects. But let's face it, at this point, the black goo does whatever the writer needs it to do. Why do you think the Offspring looks like an engineer? Please leave a comment below. Also, check out the I'm Fine t-shirt in our store, the perfect gift for sci-fi fans. Until next time, stay frosty and alert.